Hello, Xewani, Kuchani. My name is BoitumeloRikhotso, South African, living in Botswana. Thanks for watching. Thank you so much for the love you've shown to this series and my previous video where I was talking about what I miss about my home, my country, South Africa, Africa Zonga, Mzansi. Today I'm back to tell you about a few things that I love about living in Botswana. Let's do this. The first thing I love about living in Botswana is that it is safe. And by safe, I don't mean that there is no crime in Botswana. No, there is crime in Botswana. But when I look at the prevalence of crime here versus back home, Botswana is, a much safer place. Although I'm generally a person who's very alert, whenever I'm driving, whenever I'm walking around the neighborhood, I'm always alert, always careful about my surroundings. I find that I'm not constantly looking behind me all the time as I do these mundane activities. Now, I don't know whether the death penalty has anything to do with it, because as you may or may not know, Botswana still has death penalty as a sanction. So generally the peace and security situation in Botswana is very safe, and that's the first thing I love about Botswana. Secondly, I love the fact that Botswana are so passionate and patriotic about their language. Let me tell you, Botswana love Setswana. They speak it anywhere and everywhere. Not only that, they speak it with such fluency. I think it's such a beautiful thing to see a person speak their language and speak it fluently and with flair and pride. And they love it to such an extent that even people who live in Botswana, who are not Botswana, and people of other cultures make an attempt to learn Setswana because Botswana do not budge. They make no excuses for their language. They speak it with pride and with honor, and I really, really love that. I remember last year, 2020, when the whole pandemic hit, and the minister would come on TV or on radio and he would make announcements in Setswana. And people would be complaining, why would he be making announcements in Setswana? There are English-speaking people in Botswana as well. This is so unfair, etc., etc. And not long after that, I remember seeing a video where the president of France was making announcements regarding the pandemic, and he was making them in French. And the penny dropped for me as well, because I thought, hang on, there are millions of people who speak English in France, but nobody is going to be complaining to the president or to the minister saying, hey, make these announcements in English. Why are you making them in French when they are in France? So I thought, hello, we live in Botswana. This is not our home country. We are visiting here. We are being hosted by this country. They are making announcements in their language, which is Setswana. It makes sense for them to be making announcements in Setswana. Of course, when they release the press releases, you will get one in Setswana and then get another one in English. So it's not like they don't do anything in English. Sometimes they would do the announcements in Setswana, and at the end they will summarize it in English. So I loved the fact that they take ownership of their language, and billboards are in Setswana, advertising that is sent to your phone in Setswana. Their children speak Setswana. Even though they may speak to their children in English, sometimes their children can still speak Setswana, which is something that I think is beautiful. Number 3, people often make jokes about Botswana being a big village. And I think this has some benefits, because even though I live in a city, in Gaborone, which is the capital city of Botswana, there are so many nature-like places around the city that make you feel like you are out of the city. Whether it's going to Gaborone Dam or the various parks around the city, which are built into the residential area, there is just a lovely spot, a few kilometers from where I stay, where we usually go to watch the sunset. Or you have places that have beautiful trees, rock formations, just nature that is inside residential areas, which just looks beautiful to me. And also the fact that there are some nature reserves within the city in Gaborone. It's so lovely to be in the city, yet you still get things that others would have to travel kilometers to go see a zebra or other animals. But here we are living right in the middle of nature, which is beautiful. Number 4, there is a very big sense of community in Botswana. And what I mean by that is, you know, you don't have a lot of demarcation whereby this one is for the uber rich and this one is for the uber poor. You get a house, a 5 million pula worth of a house on this plot, and next door, it's a 2-bedroom house. So the rich and poor live among each other. Of course, yeah, you have areas where it's typically rich people, but generally, people who are rich live in normal communities like everybody else. When you are walking through the shops, it is not a surprise to meet politicians that you see on TV. People on parliament, celebrities, you see them walking around doing shopping like you without a huge contingent of bodyguards. Where I stay, it's very close to the National Stadium. And I don't know how many times I saw the former president just playing outside the stadium, playing a game of football with some guys, the president of the country. So I love the fact that people live together in community, no matter what their social class or social standing is. 5 is that the government in Botswana seems to be doing a lot for their citizens. Public health is free, public education is free, and when you turn 18, the government gives you a plot. Yes, a plot of land. Granted, the system is not perfect. People sometimes have to wait very long before they get assigned a plot. But just the idea that when I turn 18, I'm going to have my small piece of land where I can start my life, that is a huge, huge, huge thing. And right now, land is such a topical discussion. So for a country that is still giving a portion of land to their citizens, kudos to them. Number 6, public transport in Botswana is very cheap. A price of a kumbi to drive you around the city is 5 pula. And 5 pula is around 7 rand. And then while we're talking about public transport, petrol is cheaper in Botswana. I think in South Africa, a liter of petrol right now, 2021 Feb, is around 14 rand 50 or so. And in Botswana, our liter of petrol is 7 rand pula, 7 rand 76, which works out to around 10 rands. So quite a good saving. The last thing I will talk about, number 7, is their great quality beef. I'm not a meaty kind of person, especially beef, but everybody who visits Botswana or people who live in Botswana who are not from here will tell you that Botswana has the best beef in the world. That is why Botswana is known for 2 things. Number 1, diamonds, and number 2, it's beef. So when you come to Botswana next time, be sure to try out the beef. I will be doing a video soon regarding some of the things you should eat when you are in Botswana, and it's amazing how many of those dishes include beef. So look out for that one. Let me know what about Botswana you would like to know so that I know which videos to record for you in this series called Life in Botswana. Until next time, from me, Boitumelo, Rikhotso is Sona.